Kevin is back in the pod cave. The last few episodes you would have seen have been from the Romford Horror Film Festival, where I had the best time ever. We've been putting out a lot of different content about that, a lot of interviews, and the one that goes out tonight, actually, or whenever you listen to this, will probably be out now, was with Mr. Tony Stamp from The Bill, which was a childhood dream fulfilled, I have to say. But I'm taking a break from all the Romford coverage. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and we are going to be doing one of these back this kind of episodes where you may have seen on the website, on the Nerdly website, that Phil every now and then does, goes on Kickstarter, goes on Indiegogo, he finds something that he really likes the look of, and he'll do a back this post, which sounds kind of weird when you say it out of context, but that's what he does. And that's what this is tonight. I am talking to Lucy Foster, a writer-director of a short movie that is being kickstarted right now called Santa's Little Helper. So, it's a Valentine's movie, I think. Lucy, how are you tonight? How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's awesome. This is absolutely one that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, we have some mutual friends, some mutual nerdly friends, and this was put on my radar, and I'm into anything like this. So I tell you what, before we get into what the short is about, what the Kickstarter is about, can we jump back a little bit? Again, let's not go back to your childhood, but tell us a little bit about who Lucy is and a little bit about your background coming into the film industry.
Yeah, so I actually started primarily in theatre. So I've been writing and directing in theatre since I graduated. I did creative writing at uni, so writing was always my passion. And I think it's more than anything because when I graduated, it felt to me like theatre was more accessible. You could go get your friends together, get something on its feet, and that's where I was really developing my craft for quite a long time, and that's been great. And I love theatre, but I've always had such a passion for film, and particularly because horror's my jam, and horror is such a filmic genre. So basically, over the last kind of few years after I graduated, I had my first show on. I got an agent, and I started to get some theatre commissions and I won a theatre prize, got shortlisted for some others. And then it was around that time that I started to make that leap into film. What I found is that switch from writing for theatre to writing for screen was easier to do because I think people, they can read the script, they can see, okay, cool, this person can write, great, wonderful, let's do it. And so I've been really lucky to have some amazing opportunities writing for screen. In that way, I've written for Real One Entertainment, which do in North America, like made for TV thrillers and things like that. So I've done a couple of thrillers for them, and had a couple of other projects moving. But for directing, I found that leap much tougher because people, from you being a theatre director, people can't automatically go, okay, but can this person direct for screen as well? So that's been my real focus over the last year. And I've directed my first couple of no budget shorts. But this would be the first hopefully funded short where I'm both writer and director, and hopefully will also be the proof of concept for a feature if we get there as well.
Absolutely. What do you prefer as part of your craft? Because obviously you're wearing many different hats. Do you prefer doing a little bit of the writing or directing? And that can be transferred from the theatre side of things as well. What is your favorite aspect?
It's a tough one. I think when I talk about myself, I think I say writer director, and I think I would put writer in that sense first because that's what I trained in, that's what I studied at uni, that was always my passion. And the very first time I directed was more than anything because I needed to get a show on, and I was like, I'll do it, I'll direct it myself. And I just absolutely loved being in that room. There's something so electric about about getting to direct. And as much as I absolutely love writing, it can be really lonely. It is essentially you sat with a notebook or with your laptop kind of alone. And there's something so brilliant about directing. And when I did my last short, which I directed back in November, it was just the most amazing day. I mean, it was also one of those, and you have those kind of shoots where it's all a bit like serendipitous. Everyone was wonderful, everyone was lovely, everything seemed to work super, super well. Yeah, it's just, I remember getting back from that shoot and just saying, I want to do this every day of my life. This is amazing. So it's hard to choose. I think I'm definitely a writer at heart. But directing is just it's just so much fun. So I love it too.
And what is it about? I know you're saying like it's got a filmic quality and everything like that, but what is it about horror in particular, that genre, that you want to write horror, you want to write thriller? What is it about that? Is it something that a movie you saw as a child, something that you saw growing up, and you're like, I want to make that?
Do you know what? It's a really hard one because I think where it comes from is I'm a very anxious person. I get scared really easily, and particularly when I was a kid, I had this thing where I remember like begging my parents to let me watch things like The Nightmare Before Christmas, and then being absolutely terrified when they let me watch it, or like if we were at a sort of Margate or that type place, being like, I want to go on the ghost train, and then my dad being like, you're not going to like it, and then going on it and finding it terrifying. And I think one of the things that I really liked about horror as I got older is it was a way to kind of control that fear. It was a way where you could experience something and it can be terrifying, but it's terrifying in that moment and it's controlled and it's safe. And I think that's what it is. I think it's that sort of that extreme emotional visceral reaction which meets that kind of like anxiety that I know that I have, but without having it to actually impact your everyday life. So I think a lot of it's that, but it's also just the fact that being a quite extreme genre in terms of the emotions of the characters and in terms of kind of the set pieces and what happens means that you can also really explore deep things. And I love, as much as I love a Final Destination, which I just absolutely adore, those kind of franchises. I also love those kind of horrors where at the end you go and you're like, oh my god, like things like The Orphanage, where you leave at the end of it and you're like, oh my god, that's changed my life. It's so incredible. And I think it's great that horror is a genre that can do both and can do both so well. So yeah, I think that's probably why it is, but also maybe just because it's really fun. It's just a great genre.
It is. It's a fun genre. I mean, Romford decided to make its own horror festival, based off of like we were doing one day events at the main festival, and it was like, you know what, horror's so much more fun. And
Yeah.
for me as a selection panelist, like just getting to watch everything's so cool. But going from writing, director, wearing many hats, and horror movies and things that are absolutely scary as hell and soul destroying, we are kickstarting for Santa's
We
Little
are.
Helper. How good was that segue? so why would you put yourself through a Kickstarter?
Do you know what? That is a question I've asked myself every day since we started.
It's a question everybody asks.
Yeah. I mean, I think we we know that if we want to do this film, we want to do it right. And for us, this isn't it isn't just this is a cool idea that we think will be a good calling card for us to get us on our feet. This is a story that we think is really exciting and really interesting and actually talks about some really important things, which will make both an absolutely incredible, amazing standalone short, but also has that opportunity to be something more and to be the feature. And so we know that to really achieve that, it needs to be properly funded, and we need to be able to bring on the talent and the design that it deserves. And so part of it is that, but it's also because we do think it's the kind of story that will resonate widely with audiences. And so we're hoping it's the kind of story that people on Kickstarter will look at and go, do you know what, this sounds great. This sounds really fun. This sounds really cool. This sounds really like dark and spooky, and I want to help make it happen.
We'll have a little look at the campaign in a second, because I'm going to show you all this technical wizardry that I can do. But first of all, without any spoilers, obviously, because we want people to check this out once you get it made. But where did the seed of this story come from? Where did the germ come from, and what has it grown into?
So it was really inspired originally by the elf on the shelf trend. And and this sort of idea that there's this like little creature over December in your house that watches your kids to make sure they behave, and that kind of sort of surveillance footage for children is already a little bit strange. But also the fact that more and more often, I definitely find it, is you see on sort of like Instagram and social media, parents doing these elaborate set pieces with their elves, like honestly things that would rival filmmakers. And it's just in a time of year that's already so busy, there's already so many commitments, and where parents are already inundated with work, something that you have to do to that level every single day just seems absolutely mad to me. And so that's where this idea really began. And so what the story is about Santa's little helper, which is the elf in our story. And when Carol decides that she's gonna jump on this Santa's little helper trend for the first time, she's going to get one for her daughter Rue. And she thinks it's a bit of a faff, but every other kid in school has it, so she's just got to bite the bullet and go for it. But what she starts to notice is that the elf starts to appear around the house in strange places, but particularly when she's doing things wrong. So it seems as if the elf isn't really just watching her daughter and making sure that her daughter's behaving. The elf seems to be making sure that the parents are behaving as well. So that's sort of what it's grown into, is this looking at those wider themes about the commercialization of Christmas and kind of what is the meaning of Christmas, but also looking at that microcosm of that world of parents in this sort of like Instamum generation having to be perfect, and particularly in a time of year where there's already so much going on, and which is probably the time of year where you're most likely to be photographed, you're most likely to have this kind of record of yourself put online. And that's really what I wanted to try and shine a light on.
So this is why your short sings to me. This is why your campaign sings to me. I am a father, and I have 3 daughters, and I hate Elf on the Shelf season. I absolutely hate it, because you've got to do something every night. You've got to up the ante every night. And you're right, because when you say about on Instagram, I have someone that lives in the same town as me, and they only live a few streets away. And one year they changed the bed sheets on the kid's bed and changed like everything to have like Elf on the Shelf decorations. And I'm sitting there going, what are you doing? So that's why this sings to me, and I love this, and I love the idea of watching the parents as well. I think that just sounds so cool. And what kind of things can we? Obviously, again, no spoilers. I don't want you to give any juicy things away. But what kind of things can we expect to see the elf get up to?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to say without giving away too many spoilers.
Like
What I will say. What I will say is it's definitely in the short. It's very sinister. It's that sort of slow tension build of where is this going, and it's really when we get to the climax that we start to get that sort of fear built in. But what we have also been exploring is we've written the script for the feature version. And for that one, we're kind of pitching that as Gremlins meets Final Destination, and so those set pieces are going to be really, really important and integral to the way that that's built. So What I can say are there's some really gnarly deaths in that script, all very festive, of course, and really again playing on those sort of ideas of the kind of things that parents have to do or end up being forced to do over the holidays, and where that ends up leading for them.
Like I say, I can completely relate. I absolutely hate that time of year. Although sometimes I do get a little bit creative, but then it's like 5 or 6 days in, I'm like, really? You're still doing this?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my producer Chris Niles was saying with his daughter that he tried repeating something that he'd done a few years before, and he was like, she won't remember. And she remembered. She was like, they often did this before. And he's like, well, I'm meant to come up with an original like plan every single year and not repeat anything. It's just maddening.
We did the one where the elf drew on my youngest daughter's face, drew like glasses on her face, drew like a little mustache, and then took a photo on her phone and set it as the desktop, the
Wow.
background screen. So we did that, and I thought that's amazing. We've done amazing there, like top parent. And then the next morning, she just screamed the house down because the elf had drawn on her. She was going mental. It was like that's why we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, it's creepy. It's actually
exactly
really
it's super creepy, which is why it only works as a concept for a short and for a feature as well, though. Like you really tapped into something there that, like you say, it's a trend every single year, and it kind of evokes this thing of like people will be able to watch this every year. Is that something you're really kind of gunning for?
Yeah, I hope so, because I mean, one of the other things that really inspired me to want to write a Christmas horror is I absolutely love Christmas. I'm a complete Christmas apologist. I just love it. I think
I saw your little video.
Yeah, it's great fun. And yeah, and there are obviously a lot of films that I'll return to every year. Gremlins being one of them. But what I've definitely found is, like, for a country in the UK, we've got such a long tradition of ghost stories around Christmas. And if you think about things like our most famous Christmas story that's come out of the UK is A Christmas Carol, which is a ghost story. And that sort of that time of year was always the sort of spooky tales, haunted time of year. And yet there aren't very many Christmas horrors that are coming out of the UK. And that's really what we want to do, is we want this to be the kind of film that people can, when they're going, okay, what am I going to watch this Christmas on my horror watching list besides Gremlins and maybe Black Christmas and Better Watch Out and Krampus, which are, all stateside. What are the ones else that I might want to watch? Santa's Little Helper, perfect. So I hope that it is something that people can return to, because I think these, like the themes that we're exploring, like you said, are going to resonate year on year. And I read this really interesting article recently that was saying that this generation of parents both spend, particularly mothers, spend more time with their kids than their parents' generation, but also are more likely to work. So basically, parents these days both work harder and yet still spend more time with their children. And obviously there's a lot about that which is lovely, which is about the fact that parents are able to spend more time with their kids, and that's great. But there's also that expectation of having, the kind of classic having it all, where you're expected to be able to be that breadwinner and pay the bills, but you also need to be at every single event your kid's doing and there for them all the time. And I don't think those themes are ones that are going to go away quickly, even if trends change and things like Elf on the Shelf fall out of favor.
I mean, it's fallen out of favor in my house, but in terms of that, yeah, you're absolutely right, because I go to work for a rest, if I'm honest with you. But, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter. You're looking for backers. I can share this little screen here so we can have a little look at this.
Oh, amazing.
So far, we are, like 10, 11 days in?
Yeah, no, we're less than a week in.
Less than a week.
Yeah. So we're only on day 4 or 5, and yeah, we were super happy to get to that first big 1K milestone this morning,
Great
which
for
was
that.
an absolutely great way to wake up. So yeah, it's been off to a really really good start, and I'm so overwhelmed by the support and the positive messages we've had so far.
So what you can do if people can go to Kickstarter.com, type in Santa's Little Helper. I found it by typing in Scott Lies, but that's because I'm kind of all about that guy. Yeah, it'll tell you everything you need to know. It's got breakdowns of what the movie's going to be about. It's got breakdowns of your cast. A little bit about your cast here. Who did I see? Yeah. So how did you go about casting your Carol?
Yeah, so I've known Ro for a while, and I actually originally met her in the theatre industry, and she's just fab. And I think one of the things that I really like about Roanne, particularly for this role, is she's got that wonderful positive like energy. Like you just look at her and you want to smile. She's got the most gorgeous smile, but she but she also is so good at comedy, so good at the comic timing. And I think that sort of overlap between comic timing and horror timing are so key. And she's also just really good at getting that kind of down to earth, every man connect with you feeling. So I think that idea of that mum at Christmas who's happy and drawing you in and wants to be there, but also is facing the reality of the situation, I just think she'll be great at. And I directed her on screen for the first time last year, and yeah, she lights up the screen. So I'm looking forward to that.
She does look cool. Like honestly, I can't say that I can think of anything I've seen her in, but just looking at the picture and the little write up here, she looks perfect. Like for that kind of I don't want to say mumsy, but that kind of mum horror role. Like Child's Play 1, like the mum and that. She was
Yes.
utterly perfect, and I can see that kind of quality there.
Yeah,
One of the things I
100%.
one of the things I do really like with your Kickstarter as well, because you don't always get it with them. You should always get it with them, but it gives you a breakdown of how the money's going to be spent. So guys, if you go onto this Kickstarter and you decide to pledge, which you absolutely should, by the way, but if you decide to, where that money's going to go. It's not like Children in Need, where you give your money and they just throw it away. It's an actual thing where you're going to see something on the back end. So please do check that out as well if you're interested in those kind of things. But what everybody's interested in, Lucy, is the rewards.
Of
Tell us a
course.
little bit about some of your rewards. I love the way you've got these laid out, by the way.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? Yeah, Chris came up with those titles. I think they're hilarious. um, so we've got a big range of awards available, and anyone who's familiar with a Kickstarter campaign will know that they kind of go up and they increase depending on how much you're able to pledge to the project. So obviously we'll for pretty much every single donation, we've got the rewards that we'll be shouting out about you on social media and spreading our thanks. But as we creep up, we get things like early access to the sort of online screenings so that you can see Santa's Little Helper first. We've got invitations to our premiere, so you can come watch it with the cast and crew. We've also got things in the sort of physical media space, which I know us horror lovers love. So we've got the posters and also the concept art, which we'll be revealing later on probably this week as well, which will be exciting. And then right at the top is where you can get those really cool credits. So for example, if you wanted to get to be actually an exec producer on Santa's Little Helper, then you're able to do so, and that includes the IMDb credit and actually getting to have that tick. So I know there are quite a lot of people who invest in film where it's important that they know that they're not just throwing the money in, but that they're getting that recognition back. And yeah, we'd absolutely love to have you guys on board if you're excited about the project like we are.
And that is for me, that is exactly the level you should be coming in at, guys. Anybody watching this, don't go for the £10. Just go straight for the top level. Get yourself in the credits. Who doesn't love seeing their name in the credits of a movie? It's awesome to see. I've seen it a couple of times now myself, and I have to say it gives me a little cheesy smile. But yeah. So what kind of stretch goals are you looking at bringing out? Is there anything like super interesting, cool that you've got that you're planning?
It's a good question. So we've still got a long way to go to hit our initial target, which I'm confident we will be able to get to. And so we're in the process at the moment of discussing exactly what those rewards are going to be once we sort of big up in those stretch goals. But yeah, we the budget that we've got at the moment, which you're right, Kevin, we've broken down specifically into what we need to do to basically get the film made in its most sort of like basic form, where we're achieving exactly what we want to achieve from it. But we know that there is a lot of ability to go further, particularly with things like the design of Santa's Little Helper as this original character, and that production design element of things, and really building up that world, which is where a lot of our stretch goals are going to go. So yeah, watch this space, because we've still got to wait and see how we creep up over the next couple of weeks towards that initial 10K. But there's definitely some more exciting things that we can do if we're able to go beyond that. And I hope that we get there.
And how exactly did these two nuggets get involved?
So
sorry, guys. I have to
though. So I originally met Chris Niles as part of, it was the London Horror Society. It's now the Independent Horror Society. And at the time, they were doing a call out for a film funding scheme in collaboration with Fear. It was just this weekend that they actually shot their first short film off the back of that incubator with Richard O'Hare, who's our DOP. So that's going to be amazing, and I'm super excited to see that. But I pitched Santa's Little Helper as part of that, and Chris immediately was like, yes, this project, this needs to get made. So we've basically been on a journey since then. And as I think you know, Kev, he runs Crossroad Pictures with Scott Lias. And so when Chris introduced the idea to Scott was like, yep, this is great. I'm right on board as well. So the three of us have been working on this sort of plan together for the last few months. In order to work out, you know, what do we need? What do we really want to achieve with this? So yeah, it's been great. I mean, they're both absolutely fab. They're great eggs, as you know, and I think as well they're in tune with the industry. They've got a great network. They know what people want to see, and that they're not the kind of people that would jump on a project unless they go, yeah, I can see this. I can see the audience for it. I can see where it's going to go. And yeah, and I'm lucky that they did with Santa's Little Helper.
So we get funded, hopefully. And I know fine well we will. But we get this funded. When do we start shooting? And when can people expect to see Santa's Little Helper?
Yeah, so we really want to hit the ground running. So the plan, if we're able to meet our goal in time, which is at the start of April, is to be shooting by the end of April. Yeah, we're really keen. I mean, partly it's just because we have been doing the pre-prep for this, and so we want to be in a position where we can really move and we can sort of prove this concept for the people who backed us as soon as we can. But that also gives us plenty of time to be able to get it edited and get it out in time for all the cool, exciting horror film festivals that start later this year. So last year, I was really lucky to be chosen as part of the Frightfest New Blood group. Which was amazing. That was such a great experience. So I'd love to be back at Frightfest this year with my first short. So hopefully that's the plan. And so I'm hoping that anyone watching, if they're around at Frightfest in August, or in the months following at the many sort of horror festivals that will follow, they'll be able to see us and our team there.
So quick turnaround. Is that not a little bit daunting for you? Or are you just dying to get
No,
going?
never. Yeah. I think like it's been in the works for a while, because
Yeah.
when I mean, Chris and I have been talking about this short for over a year now. And so yeah, so there's like quite a lot of there's quite a lot of work that we have been doing behind the scenes. And so I'm really keen to jump in and get this moving, and I know that the guys are as well. So yeah, April it is.
I mean, I have to say, anybody watching that is, even slightly interested. If your interest has been piqued, I think Lucy's passion alone for this project should really sell you on this project. So go and throw some shekels down, and let's get this made.
Oh, thank you so much.
So you're going to be doing the short. You intend on going in April. This is a proof of concept, so you want to make a feature. I can already see franchise potential. Yeah, is that, money is no object? Is that the dream?
I mean, that would be amazing.
We get one every year.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think that would be incredible. And yeah, definitely, I agree, because the nature of this is that it's something that would exist in every household, and so there are, so many different makeups of different kind of households.
Yeah.
And different sort of groups of people who this is impacting. And I think that's the nice thing about a film like this, is it really gets into the family home. So we really get to unearth kind of who's there under the surface, and what's happening behind closed doors. And yeah, I that would definitely be a dream. Even what horror writer director would say, nah,
Exactly.
don't fancy a franchise. Yeah.
Exactly. Go for it. And
Yeah.
with that, a question there, we're going to start wrapping up in a second, but a question that I've been asking quite recently when it comes to the horror, and I think this is quite apt for your short. Say you were in your own, slasher franchise, and you are a character in there. What would you rather face as a serial killer coming at you? Would you rather face a Jason-sized Chucky or a Chucky-sized Jason?
Oh, definitely a Chucky-sized Jason. 100%.
Everybody says that, but you can't kill him. Like it's like, he comes back every time, and everybody's like, "Got to be a Chucky-sized Jason." And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but I mean, I just can't. I mean, Chucky's scary enough as he is, without being even bigger.
Exactly, and it's Brad
Yeah.
Dourif.
Yeah. A Chucky-sized Jason. I don't know. You can lock, put him in a locker, close it up, lock him in a trunk, and be done with it.
So I've got two last questions here, and the second one you're gonna love, so I'll leave that till the end.
All right.
But the first one is, what is it about filmmaking and about writing and about directing that really feeds your film soul and your creative soul? What it is about the journey?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I just love telling a story. That's where it all comes back to, and that's what I always loved doing as a kid. My family's Irish, and I think storytelling is a very Irish thing. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And then I was talking about it earlier, but being on set, being part of that collaborative process, when you're part of a project where you just know absolutely everyone in that room believes in it and is here for it, and you're all working for that common goal, there's just nothing like it. It's absolutely electric. And yeah, it's a million times better than sitting at a desk at your laptop in an office job, which I've spent many a year doing as well. So yeah, it beats making spreadsheets every day of the week.
Oh man, I'm pretty good with a spreadsheet though, to be fair.
Okay. I'm not. That's my problem.
The last question that I have for you is, basically, we want people to go over to Kickstarter to check out this. Even if you don't have, enough money, we know that things out there are a bit tough right now. But even just a simple like, follow, throwing it up on the social media, even that helps, because you may have somebody on your friends list who can give a little bit of money. But Lucy,
Yeah.
pimp the project. Tell people why they should visit your Kickstarter page for Santa's Little Helper.
So you should definitely visit our Kickstarter for Santa's Little Helper, because we're bringing a Christmas horror with a British accent, which is something that we don't see nearly enough of. And we're telling a story that, whether you're a parent or not, you can absolutely relate to the idea of feeling like you're not able to be perfect in a time of year when everyone else seems to have their shit together. And I think that's really at the heart of what this project is. And I don't know a person on earth who can't relate to that. So we'd absolutely love to have you on board.
Absolutely, and Nerdly would love to see you guys join in as well and jump on there. And we will be trying to help out as much as possible, Lucy. We absolutely love the look of this. I was talking to Phil earlier about it, and we love what you're doing with this, because, like you say, it's so damn relatable, and I can't wait to see it up on the big screen, whether it's in short form, feature form, franchise form, going forward, big IMAX, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
We think you're onto a winner here. We think you've got something that looks like solid gold. So we hope everybody checks it out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, hopefully we'll be back talking about Santa's Helper 3D in like 2028 or wherever.
Now you've got me. Or like Santa's Helper X is in space, because X is when they all go to space. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lucy, where can people find you on the social medias? Where can they find all that good stuff? And we will wrap it out there.
Perfect. So I'm mostly on Twitter these days, so you can find me there. I'm Lucy Eliza Foster, all one word. And if you search for Santa's Little Helper in Twitter, I'll be the one who's done a bazillion tweets every day about it. So I should be easy enough to find.
Yeah, you do. You are hitting that social media grind, but I mean, you kind of have to when it comes to Kickstarters. It's not an easy thing to do, and I don't envy you whatsoever. You know, I like seeing other people do it, so I can be like, ha ha ha. I know how dead things are right now.
Yeah, 100%.
But no, please, everybody, go and check this project out. We here at Nerdly want you to back this project.
Amazing. Thank you so much.